Now put everything away for the next few minutes and listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. It's a serious matter and it concerns your livelihood and quality of life. Hi everyone, welcome back. Now, in this video, I will share with you how impotent the PAP government is when it comes to solving some of the country's problems. And as I will show you, they are big problems. Now, as before, I will cite you facts to demonstrate when I say that the matter is not only big, it's also dire. And it has to do with productivity and innovation. I've explained in another video exactly what productivity is. If we are not productive, your wages cannot grow to keep up with inflation, and that affects your quality of life. And the reality is that we've been having tremendous difficulty trying to boost productivity growth, not just in the last few years, but in the last few decades. I'll say for a few spurts here and there, our productivity growth has not been impressive. In fact, I wrote about this in my book, Dare to Change, in 1994. I said then, compared to other Asian countries, our productivity growth is notoriously mediocre. It's not that our economy has not grown, it has. But it's grown in less than healthy ways. One, it has grown by Singaporeans working harder and longer, not smarter. In other words, more perspiration than inspiration. Now, it's no wonder our workers are so tired, uninspired, and stressed out. Uninspired workers are not productive workers. According to a report, Singapore has the least happy workforce in the world. The report said 48% of its employees stated they were unhappy in their workplace and will unlikely recommend it to a friend. Two, we've been growing our economy by bringing in foreigners. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew himself admitted in 2010 that we've grown in the last 5 years by just importing labor. Three, as I've also explained in a previous video, the government is inviting in billionaire foreigners to augment our economic growth. And this will have disastrous consequences for our future. Now, the situation has come to a point that economists Manu Bhaskaran and Nigel Chiang warned in 2020 that Singapore's productivity growth has underperformed below what is needed to keep improving our living standards. The implications are dire. Our living standards, competitiveness, and economic growth would be at risk. But it's not that the PAP has not tried to address the situation. Through the years, it came up with different committees to tackle the problem. In 1991, it was the next lap to make Singapore into a world-class innovation-driven economy. Then in 1996, it was the PSB, the Productivity Standards Board, that wanted to raise Singapore's productivity and competitiveness. In 2001, the Economic Review Committee wanted to remake Singapore into a creative and entrepreneurial nation. 2010, the Economic Strategies Committee wanted to make innovation and productivity the basis for our economic growth. 2016, the Committee for Our Future Economy said that it wanted to enable companies to develop innovative capacities. 2023, Forward Singapore now says that it wants to push the frontiers of innovation. It's just all words with different committee names. After 30 or 40 years, little has changed by way of productivity and innovation growth. Isn't it clear by now that the PAP is impotent at solving the problem? In their paper, Manu Bhaskaran and Nigel Chiang found that Singapore's productivity lags behind those of our competitors such as South Korea, Taiwan, Denmark, Finland, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Norway, and Sweden. Now, why is that? Two factors. The first is that these economies operate under democratic systems. They enjoy political freedom, free from censorship and fear of their governments. I'll talk about this issue in greater detail and why this is so important for productivity and innovation growth in another video. For now, I want to focus on the second factor that is making us so unproductive, and that is that unlike these other economies, the Singapore government is directly involved in operating and running businesses. It does this through government-linked companies, or GLCs. Now, because GLCs effectively comprise employees with civil service mentality and culture, they cannot produce what real entrepreneurs and innovative companies can. Again, listen to what experts are saying. MIT professor Huang Yasheng had this to say about GLCs. Civil service culture is about discipline. It's about execution. It's about efficiency. Entrepreneurial culture is about challenging the authorities, questioning the existing ways of doing business, and moving away from the routines and norms. It's about the unconventional, rebellious, and diverse. These values are almost polar opposites. Another expert, economist Linda Lim, not mincing her words, says that in Singapore, the role of the state in business has become at best unnecessary and at worst dysfunctional. Let me cite you one concrete example of what I mean. About 25 years ago, I compared two companies, one from Taiwan called the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or the TSMC, and the other is Singapore's GLC called Chartered Semiconductor. I wrote this in an earlier book of mine called Your Future, My Faith, Our Freedom. I compared the two models and said that TSMC would grow, and I questioned the Singapore's model. So what happened to these two companies? TSMC, which was started by Morris Chang in 1987, grew to become one of the most successful chip makers in the world. In fact, TSMC's chips have been used by the US Defense Department for making high-tech military equipment. Today, TSMC is worth more than $500 billion by market capitalization, the biggest semiconductor producer in the world. Now, this is followed by Samsung, with an American-based company called Global Foundries coming in at third. TSMC is the 12th most valuable company in the world. What about our Chartered Semiconductor? Global Foundries acquired it and took over its plants in 2010. The PAP's way of running our economy is obsolete. It has been outdated for decades, and I've been warning about this for decades. What is most disturbing is that through all this, the PAP is still showing no signs of changing course. Lawrence Wong is singing the same old song from his party's collection of greatest hits, making vacuous blandishments like, we have to focus on productivity and innovation to ensure that Singapore continues to move forward. Of course we have to focus on productivity and innovation. But after what I've just showed you, after 30, 40 years of misguided policies, we've got to be fools to believe that what he is saying now is going to make one damn bit of difference. Now let me recap and tie it in all together for you. I've shown you how, after all these years and tens of billions of dollars wasted, the PAP is impotent when it comes to making our economy more productive and innovative. It just continues to do what it's done in years past, down a dead-end street. And if productivity doesn't grow, our economic competitiveness, our wages, our quality of life are all going to be negatively affected. Making the people work harder and longer while continuing to dominate the local economy through the GLCs is not the answer. Continuing to deprive the people of the freedom to think and freely express themselves is not the answer. Bringing in more and more foreigners into this country is not the answer. In fact, it is going to backfire on us spectacularly. I've explained all these developments in my book, It Starts With a Dream. And more important, I spell out solutions to the current problems we face and describe what we can and must do to rectify this very dangerous position our country finds itself. Get a copy. It's available at Orange and Teal at Rochester Mall and Marina Square outlets. I'll be around as much as possible to sign the books. Now listen to what I'm saying, my fellow Singaporeans. Pay attention to the warning signs. Tell all your friends and family about this video and join me for the next one. I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.